Hello everyone, this is HTSKSky here, and I'm back with another vlog. I also have this awesome hat that a fan gave me, and it is about as husky of a hat as you can get. And sorry that I have a delay between the last two vlogs, but I figured, you know what, I got a lot of good feedback, a lot of people messaging me, even my real life friends were like, Husky, you gotta do more vlogs. So something I do plan to do as often as I can, so please leave your comments down below for kind of questions you want me to answer, and again, please leave them with some meat to them so that there's, you know, multiple parts that are all kind of relevant to each other and I can answer them. Also, I got the wannabe, the little one beard going on here. A lot of people ask me, Husky, why don't you grow facial hair? And this is exactly why. I'm sure you can see that it does not look good. So next time you see me, I will most likely be shaved, but for now I look a little bit homeless and like a meth addict. So today's question is from someone named Chungar456, and apparently I put the question right behind the camera so I can't even actually see it. Let's go ahead and put it up there. There we go. He says, I'd love to hear about community college. I'm in high school and I'd like to get an idea of the cost, what it's like, what's offered in comparison to university, etc. in depth. Also, what are some or all of the degrees you mentioned you switched between in the last video? So this is the one he posted where I talked about my schooling just a little bit. So this question is revolving around community college. So if you're someone who's already graduated or all of that, then you probably won't learn a lot here, but I will talk about my experiences with community college, and I'm going to sit back a little bit, just get nice and cozy. So the main difference between community college and normal college, I wish I would have known this stuff in high school, but they simply don't teach it. Why they don't have a class that's literally college, that teaches you how to do well in college, what to expect between a university and a community college, what to expect between major well-known ones like Harvard and more smaller state ones like U of O, like Oregon for example has U of O and OSU. They definitely aren't like, you know, your Harvards or anything, but they're still pretty big, and then there's a lot of other smaller, especially the private universities tend to be smaller. So I would say there's three different kinds of colleges, the main colleges. There's going to be your main university, state universities. They're nice and big. You get a lot of people. Those are the universities that usually when you say people like, oh, my college years, that's where I met all my bros. A lot of time it is from those major universities because there's a lot of people. You get to meet a lot of people. There's a lot of people in your classes, etc. There's the private universities, which are, you know, still four-year universities. They tend to cost more, but they're a lot smaller. You get more kind of one-on-one time, which to me is really, really important. And then there's community college, which is the main difference is that it's only a two-year college, so you can get either a one-year or a two-year degree. If it's a one-year, it's called a certificate. If it's a two-year, then it's your associate's degree, and the four-year is, you know, your bachelor's degree, and then you can go on to master's and doctorate and all that stuff. But really the point of community college is that you go there for, usually the main idea is you go there for 2 years and you transfer into a four-year as a junior, so a third-year student. And the reason that that's really important is because community college has two major benefits. The cost is much less. Usually it's going to run you about a fourth the cost of a major university. Now, of course, there's, you know, expensive community colleges and cheaper universities and stuff like that. We are talking about the United States. I don't have any experience with any other schooling at all in any other country. So if there's something similar, I'm actually kind of curious how it works in whatever country you're from. So if it is something, usually the systems are way different though, so if it's different, just let me know in the comments. But here in America, the two-year degree, it costs me between $800 and $900 per term to take 12 credits. Now, in Oregon, we have 3 terms a year plus summer term if you decide to go, so that's 4 terms. Usually, how it works in most colleges is it's 2 terms, so there's semesters instead of trimesters, and then the semesters go for, you know, one is half the year, and then there's also a shorter summer term if that's something that you would be interested in. I highly recommend doing summer stuff unless you have an awesome job or something lined up. But anyways, so when I graduated high school, as I mentioned in the kind of previous vlogs, I was working at a fast food restaurant called Burgerville, and that was the first time, because I'd worked there during high school, and it was kind of fun, because it's like, oh, I'm in high school, I have a job, you know, I have money, I can pay for my car, and insurance, and phone, and all that, so, you know, I was slowly becoming an adult, but the difference between working at a fast food place during high school and working at it full-time when you're done with school, for me, I learned really quick, no, I do not want to be doing Burgerville for the rest of my life. Burgerville's actually an awesome company, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's a fast food job, so no matter how cool of a company it is, it's a fast food job, and I didn't want to do that. So at the end of summer, I realized, well, I don't want to be doing this at all. I'm someone who kind of doesn't plan things out like lifelong goals and things like that. You know, I've set some goals that I've made, but I hadn't planned for going to college. I hadn't taken the SATs, which at least in the United States, the SATs are kind of your placement for college. So the colleges will look at that and be like, well, how well did you place? And the SATs are something I want to talk about in just a second. I think there's a lot of misleading information about the SATs, but so hold that thought. But as far as working at Burgerville, at the end of summer, right at the end, it had been, you know, about 3 months, because that's how long our summers are, I was like, wow, I do not want to be doing this forever. And I heard that, you know, community college and any college, the year was starting up in about a week, and I was like, well, I can't go to a 4-year university because I didn't take the SATs. I didn't apply. You have to apply way ahead and, you know, get your room situated, and they give you roommates and all that. You have to move in, you know, a week before, whatever. So I didn't do all of that. I was just kind of like working this fast food job, and so I found out that you can sign up for community college at any time. You can sign up for next term, halfway through the first term, and etc. So I was able to get into community college by you just literally sign up. You can sign up the day before if you want. There's a lot less classes, but available just because they fill up. But you can sign up at any time. The cost is so manageable. I was able to afford going to college, paying off the majority of my loans. I eventually had to take out a couple of loans, but that was because I went to a university later. I was able to pay that off while working part-time at a slightly above minimum wage job, but I'll talk about that in a minute as well. So as soon as I started community college, I personally loved it because it was more, the main thing about college that I like is they don't tell you what to do, which that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is being told what to do. And at college, whether it's a university or a community college, they don't tell you what to do, man. You're an adult. It's college. You're paying for it, and they will take your money until they kick you out. Now, they don't kick you out of community college because it works slightly different than universities. So I do want to talk, before we move too far, I do want to talk about the SATs. Now, the SATs are something in high school that are really, really kind of pounded and driven into your head that you need to take these, you need to study, you need to do very well. And I'm kind of torn on this because on one hand, school is very important. I mean, going to school teaches you how to learn. A lot of times you learn useful skills. You meet a lot of people you're going to work with for the rest of your life. There's a ton of important things about school. And so doing well in the SATs, even in high school, is very important. And that's something that, it's one of those things that, like, you, as a public figure, you're supposed to just blindly support. Like, if you interview anyone, I'm going to be completely honest, you interview anyone in the public eye, and they're going to say, yes, schooling is super important, never drop out, go get good grades, all that. That's just kind of what public figures say, and part of that is doing well on your SATs. Now, I'm going to go on a little bit of a limb here, and maybe it's putting myself out there a little too much. Maybe it's people are going to backlash and say, oh, you're supposed to support schooling. Honestly, at least in Oregon, the SATs are not that important. What's interesting to me is that the high school will focus more on the SATs rather than teaching you about community college. Now, the reason that SATs weren't that important for me, not saying you shouldn't take the SATs, is that in community college, they don't look at your SATs. When you go sign up for a community college, you can be a dropout, you can have no degree, you can be 55 years old, and they accept you because the point of community college, there's a reason it has the word community in it, is that the idea is to be accepting to everyone. And of course there are upper level classes. I mean, there's crazy calculus and, really, really high level stuff, biochemistry, and there's a lot of stuff in there. But the entry level stuff, like one of the classes that the community college had was like Introduction to Computers, which is literally how do you turn on a computer. And people laugh at that and they associate community colleges with just stupid idiot classes like that. But it's also kind of cool because you can go there to learn actual real life skills. So what that means about the SATs, you do not need SAT scores to get into community college. Why people do not say this is so frustrating to me, because the fact that someone says that, a lot of people associate it with, well, you're telling my kid not to study and not to do well on the SAT. And I don't agree with that. I think that kids that have the right motivation and the right level of encouragement are gonna do well in school. And my main thing was not being told what to do. If you told me what to do, I'm not gonna be encouraged to do that. It's just kind of a natural reaction. And that's kind of why I started YouTube in the first place, is because no one told me to do it. I did it because I loved it. I stayed dedicated to it. But when it came to my favorite teachers, it wasn't the ones who were, telling me, oh, write this paper and it has to be this and this font and this size and these margins and, this header has to be this color. And it's like, stuff like that, I'm like, you know what, this doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it does not matter. The teachers I did well with were like, okay, well, your margins were off and you kind of accidentally printed it in dark blue instead of black, but the content was good and I'm going to judge you on the content. Those are the teachers that I did really well with. So when it came to the SAT, I was like, I don't know, I don't really want to take this. So honestly, I just didn't take it. And a lot of people kind of make fun of me for that and say, well, you're not doing it right. Whatever I'm doing it right because I'm super happy and I do something that I love for a living. So if you're in high school right now, just know I would recommend taking the SAT. I would recommend doing that. But just know that if you bomb it and you get a 0 out of 3,200 or whatever this ranking system is now, they change it like every year. If you bomb it, absolutely just crushed it or got crushed by it, then don't worry. There's always community college and also there's still colleges that will take you. So don't. People stress about college so much, and I honestly, my experience with college was a very non-stressful experience. And so if you fail the SATs, you can get right into community college, trust me. And the thing about community college, at least in Oregon, hang on, I got a massive itch going on. There we go, now it's kind of awkward to stop right there. But the thing about community college is, the whole point of them, at least in Oregon, and I know it's similar in Washington as well, and so hopefully a lot of other states, is that the community colleges, for the most part, are connected with the universities. And what that means is you get something that's called a transfer degree. So what you do is you go to community college, you go for 2 years, just like a university, you take a full load of classes full-time, 12 to 16 credits, and then once you're done with that, you have what's called a transfer degree, and you can transfer to the major universities in Oregon. We're talking about U of O, University of Oregon. We're talking about OSU, Oregon State University, and there's a lot of other colleges that are part of the system as well. And you transfer into that college as a junior. You completely skip the first 2 years of university that you're paying 4 times as much for, and you are a junior in that college. That also means you skip the phase of living in dormitories, which I personally hate. I'm a very private person. I love living my life pretty privately. I'm kind of introverted in that sense, where I love being at home. I love playing video games. I don't really like being bothered by other people. I'm just nice and quiet when I'm at home, which is hard to believe, I know. And so living in a dormitory is something that I dreaded. I never wanted to do that. Now, if you're an extrovert and you love spending time with people and interacting and having tons of new experiences like that, the dormitories can be good. But for me, they were very tiring because it's like, oh, my roommate's going to be loud. He's like banging his girlfriend at 2 a.m. and we're like in the same room. Like, there's lots of stuff that I would prefer not to have to live through. So you can completely skip that phase if that's something you're interested in. So you go to community college for 2 years. And another benefit of community college is if you fail a class, who cares? Just retake the class, pay a couple $100, focus on it. You've already kind of seen the content a little bit. You can take it as long as you want. Now, mainstream universities, like 4-year universities, if you start pushing into your 5th year for a 4-year degree, they're kind of looking at you like, all right, kind of got to move on here. You got to get graduated. But in community college, you can take as long as you want. I actually spent 5 years at a community college. Now, that was my personal choice because I changed degrees so long. It's not because the system keeps you in for 5 years. You can finish in 2 years flat and be moving on. And that's what a lot of successful people do, is they start at community college and then they move on to the 4-year. So that is basically how community colleges work. Again, the main points are 2 years you can transfer. The cost is about 1/4, so you're saving a lot of money if you work a part-time job like I was. At first I was working at Burgerville, and then I got a job being a computer tutor. It was an actual on-campus job that on my resume I can put was a computer tutor for 4 years. And literally what I did is I would be in the computer lab and I would work with students, whether they're 15 and are skipping high school and going straight to college, or whether they're 50 and they're going to college for the first time in 20, 30 years. So I was there to help people out from the basic ground level all the way up to, I knew some programming. I would say I knew about 95% of the class's content, but once you got into higher level programming, I was like, You're on your own, man, because I don't know how to, write all this programming. But yeah, so I worked there part-time. It was only 20 hours a week. I was able to pay for all my classes based off of that, all my food, and I was living with my parents at the time, so I didn't really have any living expenses, so that helped out a lot. So I stayed there for a long time, but that's because I loved it. Community college, to me, was like high school 2.0, not to be confused with like a Ballonda 2.0, which is like a step backwards. Haha! It was like high school 2.0 in that the teachers don't tell you what to do. Like, they don't force you to do anything. And another thing is that the classes are so small. I was taking some pretty basic level computer classes, and there would be 20, maybe 25 people at the max. Now, you would also have your individual computer that you would work at, which is pretty common at universities, but also when you take classes like English or Writing 101, something that everyone's going to have to take, or Psychology 101, basically all those entry-level classes that even high schoolers, honest, to be quite frank, could pass. Even if you're a freshman, I would say you could pass these classes. These are the classes that everyone has to take. So these are also your first 2-year classes. And so if you go to a 4-year university, everyone's taking those classes, and you know what that means? There's between 200 and 400 people in that class for one teacher and maybe 1 or 2 TAs. Maybe there's a couple more mixed in there, but that ratio of ever being able to talk to that teacher, 0, right here. And another main difference is that teachers at universities, for the most part, are there doing research, and what that means is they're using the school's the resources to research whatever their field is, whether it's biology or chemistry or mathematics or whatever. They are more there to research. Now, this isn't the case for every teacher, but just read on the news. A new study finds that there's a new medicine that can cure this disease. Guess what? The majority of those are from universities, like University of Michigan you hear a lot. A lot of the universities out there, you end up hearing about all this research coming out of them, and that is great. I mean, that's a great system for finding cures for diseases, new technology for cars, computers, and all that. That's great, but as a student, it kind of puts you in this weird spot where you're paying more because you're helping pay for all that research, and you're also getting less attention. Now, when I went to University of Oregon, beautiful campus, tons of awesome teachers, great location in Eugene. It's a great school. It's got a good stadium, an outstanding sports team. If you're into sports, they have a really good football team. And I, even at that college, which I love, because I love Oregon, and any school in Oregon I'm going to love, in that kind of case, I felt like I was paying 3 to 4 times as much for like 1/3 or 1/4 the amount that I was getting from a community college. That's why I didn't last that long at a university, because if I want to get a hold of a teacher, just the way they talk is like they have way too much on their plate, so they can't focus on you as much. And what they try and do is break it down into smaller classes that complement the main class. So you have your main class that is 300 to 400 people, 200 to 400 people, whatever. But then you have a secondary class that's 30 to 40 people. Just, why is this hat so itchy, man? There we go. So the TAs are the ones who teach those are the teacher assistants. They are the ones who teach those smaller classes. I'm going to be honest, a lot of them are really difficult to understand because they are still students themselves. So you're paying 4 times as much to be taught by students. And to me, that was completely unacceptable. I did not appreciate that. I didn't like it. I vibed very poorly with it. And so I eventually went back to community college. So one thing, though, that colleges are good for is the last 2 years. This is when you focus on your main degree. So say you're going to be a lawyer. I think lawyers go for more than 4 years, but let's just say there's a 4-year lawyer degree that you can get, a criminal justice degree. Those last 2 years, that's when you're taking classes on, criminal punishment and the laws and how to write, lawyer documents and things like that. I just call them lawyer documents, come on. The last 2 years is when you really start getting into the nitty-gritty of what your degree actually is. And that is why community college, I think, from my experience of going to both university and a community college, I think community colleges are the way to go for the first 2 years. Now, if you have your schooling covered, so say you get an awesome scholarship, say your parents are able to, they have a fund that they're helping you pay for college, say that you get grants and things like that, then going to a 4-year university, I'm not pooping on the idea. It's still a good idea, especially if you're into sports. If you want to be into the highest level competitive sports, then a major college is also a good way to go. But if you're like me, who is just an average kid, his parents can't afford to pay for every single class that I'm taking, I have a normal job, I don't have any major hookups as far as, income or salary. If you're just like me, community college is absolutely perfect, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. People put this bad stigma on it for honestly no reason, at all, because it's really unfounded, because you don't need to take the SATs. You're taking the exact same courses, exactly the same, that you're taking in a major college. The difference, though, is that you are connecting with a teacher. Two important things. You're connecting with a teacher who wants to be there. Their salary is much lower. They want to be there. They have the same teaching degrees that a lot of the university professors have. Sometimes professors go on to do, bigger things. But for the most part, they have the same degree. They're getting less pay. And they're being there because they love teaching at a community college. Talk to any teacher at a community college. Maybe there's a couple bad apples sprinkled throughout, but every teacher I had in community college absolutely loved it. There was one teacher who was like 95, who I felt was like just doing it for the money. But other than that, every teacher I had loves being there, because it does have a community feel, which is kind of corny to say, but it just has a much different, more down-to-earth, more realistic, you're paying a realistic price, you're taking classes that are realistic, and also your class sizes are small enough. This is the other important thing. The classes are 20 to 30 people. The teachers always tell you their office hours, which they do at university, but then there's like 100 people there. They tell you their office hours, they'll give you their phone number and contact information. A lot of them give you their private emails to be able to email them directly. You get responses right away. And honestly, I learned so much more at community college than I did at a big university, because someone like me, I feel like I want to use my time the way that I want to use it. And what that means is if I'm in a class, I want to be able to ask the teacher questions. I want to be able to know that I can get a hold of them, whether it's during, before, after class, or when I'm back at home, and being able to really focus on what I want to. When I was at a 4-year university, 300 people, I didn't feel like I was doing anything. I was just sitting there literally watching a slideshow that 400 people are watching. I got distracted. I would get on my laptop, I would look up Reddit, I would go on YouTube, and then I wasn't getting anything out of it. So when the classes are smaller and you're able to be that much more tightly knit. That's what I'm looking for there. Got some dyslexia going on. But anyways, that's basically the story of community college. If you just skip to the end, basically take this away. Community college is not bad, it's actually awesome. You save a lot of money, you take the exact same classes, class size is much smaller, and you can transfer into a 4-year degree as a junior. No SATs, no having to live in dormitories, no having to take 300 to 400 people classes. So to me, going to community college is a no-brainer. It's not as stressful, and I'm someone who doesn't like being stressed. A lot of people out there, they love being stressed. That's something I don't understand, but they love being busy. They always feel like they have to be doing something and, get straight A's on every single paper. I'm more kind of a laid-back guy, so I don't necessarily agree to that mentality. So if you're more laid-back, still trying to find your way, this is also something is that there's no pressure to find your degree for the first 2 years. Colleges, they kind of want you to choose as quickly as possible. But at a community college, I changed degrees 4 or 5 times. Part of the question is, what are the other degrees that you switch between during your college? I think I mentioned the majority of them. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a nursing assistant. I wanted to be a nurse. I also wanted to be a vet tech. And anything in the medical field, I always felt like it was such a selfless job to help other people and help them live longer. And of course, I love animals as well. Then I wanted to be, I was diddling, which is a word that's not the perfect word here, is I was trying out computer programming, did really bad, and then I wanted to be more of an IT guy just because I love working with computers. I tried web development, which I was also not the best at. I learned about myself, I'm not the best at programming, whether it's a website or video games or programs or anything like that. I just couldn't do it. So I switched around a lot, and that is one of the big benefits with community college is you go at your pace, and no one tells you how fast or slow you can take classes. So that is my experience with community college. I'm kind of curious on your guys' experience with college. My biggest demographic is actually 25 to 32, for those of you who don't know. And what that means is a lot of you guys have graduated college, have taken some college, taken no college, and have, your different jobs and things like that. So what is your experience with a 4-year university, a community college, etc.? What do you think I'm full of it? I'm kind of curious. And also, aside from letting me know your experience with schooling, please, 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 if you have more questions, post them down below. I'm going to try and answer, you know, a couple of vlogs a week. Hopefully, I'm still kind of getting the hang of it, and I feel like this vlog's way longer than the other ones, but we'll see. So yeah, that's my experience with community college. I highly recommend it, guys. If you bomb the SATs, it is not the end of the world. You can still go to that 4-year university that you want. You just got to do well in community college. So I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Please ask questions down below. And of course, I'll see you guys next time. Where's that button? Where's that button? Find that button! Is, you know, your bachelor's degree, and then you can go on to master's and doctorate and all that stuff. But really the point of community college is that you go there for, usually the main idea is you go there for 2 years and then you transfer into a 4-year as a junior, so a 3rd-year student. And the reason that that's really important is because community college has 2 major benefits. The cost is much less. Usually it's going to run you about 1/4 the cost of a major university. Now, of course, there's, you know, expensive community colleges and cheaper universities and stuff like that. We are talking about the United States. I don't have any experience with any other schooling at all in any other country. So if there's something similar, I'm actually kind of curious how it works in whatever country you're from. So if it is something, usually the systems are way different though, so if it's different, just let me know in the comments. But here in America, the 2-year degree, it costs me between $800 and $900 per term to take 12 credits. Now, in Oregon, we have 3 terms a year plus summer term if you decide to go, so that's 4 terms. Usually, how it works in most colleges is it's 2 terms, so there's semesters instead of trimesters, and then the semesters go for, you know, one is half the year, and then there's also a shorter summer term if that's something that you would be interested in. I highly recommend doing summer stuff unless you have an awesome job or something lined up. But anyways, so when I graduated high school, as I mentioned in the kind of previous vlogs, I was working at a fast food restaurant called Burgerville, and that was the first time, because I'd worked there during high school, and it was kind of fun, because it's like, oh, I'm in high school, I have a job, you know, I have money, I can pay for my car, and insurance, and phone, and all that, so I was slowly becoming an adult. But the difference between working at a fast food place during high school and working at it full-time when you're done with school, for me, I learned really quick, no, I do not want to be doing Burgerville for the rest of my life. Burgerville's actually an awesome company, but at the end of the day, like U of O, like Oregon, for example, has U of O and OSU. They definitely aren't like, you know, your Harvards or anything, but they're still pretty big, and then there's a lot of other smaller, especially the private universities tend to be smaller. So there's, I would say there's 3 different kinds of colleges, the main colleges. There's going to be your main university, state universities. They're nice and big. You get a lot of people. Those are the universities that usually when you say people like, oh, my college years, that's where I met all my bros. A lot of time it is from those major universities because there's a lot of people. You get to meet a lot of people. There's a lot of people in your classes, etc. There's the private universities, which are, you know, still 4-year universities. They tend to cost more, but they're a lot smaller. You get more kind of one-on-one time, which to me is really important. And then there's community college, which is the main difference is that it's only a 2-year college, so you can get either a 1-year or a 2-year degree. If it's a 1-year, it's called a certificate. If it's a 2-year, then it's your associate's degree, and the 4-year is... Hello everyone, this is HTSKSky here, and I'm back with another vlog. I also have this awesome hat that a fan gave me, and it is about as husky of a hat as you can get. And sorry that I have a delay between the last 2 vlogs, but I figured, you know what, I got a lot of good feedback, a lot of people messaging me, even my real life friends were like, Husky, you gotta do more vlogs. So something I do plan to do as often as I can, so please leave your comments down below for kind of questions you want me to answer, and again, please leave them with some meat to them so that there's, you know, multiple parts that are all kind of relevant to each other and I can answer them. Also, I got the wannabe, the little one beard going on here. A lot of people ask me, Husky, why don't you grow facial hair? And this is exactly why. I'm sure you can see that it does not look good. So next time you see me, I will most likely be shaved, but for now I look a little bit homeless and like a meth addict. So today's question is from someone named Chunger456, and apparently I put the question right behind the camera so I can't even actually see it. Let's go ahead and put it up there. There we go. He says, I'd love to hear about community college. I'm in high school and I'd like to get an idea of the cost, what it's like, what's offered in comparison to university, etc. in depth. Also, what are some or all of the degrees you mentioned you switched between in the last video? So this is the one that he posted where I talked about my schooling just a little bit. So this question is revolving around community college. So if you're someone who's already graduated or all of that, then you probably won't learn a lot here, but I will talk about my experiences with community college, and I'm going to sit back a little bit, just get nice and cozy. So the main difference between community college and normal college, I wish I would have known this stuff in high school, but they simply don't teach it. Why they don't have a class that's literally college that teaches you how to do well in college, what to expect between a university and a community college, what to expect between major well-known ones like Harvard and more smaller state ones.